go. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the MFL Ramble. Sorry, the Sorare Ramble. So used to doing another platform. Apologise for that. But as you can see, I've got a full crew today. We've got a man back who is the regular co-host on the show, but hasn't been on for a while, mainly because we haven't been doing it more than anything else. But he's back. He's bad. I'm sure he's got lots of opinions and stuff that he's going to be dropping on us. On top of that, I am, as always, joined by my glorious blue-eyed Braveheart himself, and that is Hoodwink. How are you, sir?
I'm very good, thanks.
Nice. And how are you, Chris? Are you well?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Doing well.
Is your you had a baby not so long ago, so it's been a while, hasn't it? Is she applying for universities now or something?
He is 2 years old in May, so yeah.
That's a while ago, isn't it? I remember him being born when we were doing the show, so it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been a long time. I can't remember I think the last one we did was probably 3 or 4 months ago now.
Yeah, easily, yeah. And I'm just having a look at the chat, and as happened last week, and I need to work out what's going on. I don't know whether you can see anything on the chat, Hoodwink, but we have got a few people in. We've got Nathan Marville. Hello, sir. Good afternoon, dudes. Good afternoon to you. And Kerry Harrison. How are you, sir? Good day, good day. But yeah, then I've got nothing appearing after that. There's always one. Oh, it's just maybe, is that an emoji that you put down there, which is like a little thing going around?
Well, that was me. Aye.
Oh, that confused me. I thought like the messages isn't working. But let's keep up and pray it's working. But yeah, we're here. We're here to talk about So Rare. There's lots of topics that look like they're sort of tipping their head above water. The So Rare 26 to 27 transition. We've started to get sort of a look at that. They've given us an idea on like converting 26 essence to 27 essence. And as you know, I expected, and I'm sure most people expected, you can't just carry across all your essence. Otherwise, people are just going to be, as soon as like Prem crafts are available, they'll be ripping through 250,000 essence. So, yeah, is a max that you can carry across, and to do that, I think you need like a huge amount of essence to transition across anyway. But for me, it's not really an issue. I've got 29,000 essence coming in this week, and a lot of that will be going on trying to find MLS and K-League cards to start my journey on that side. But aside from that, we'll be chatting about horrible topic that just doesn't seem to go away, and we'll be talking about subs. We'll also be talking about competitions. Like we've got a clue about what competitions could look like for the Prem. They said they're testing them, separating out leaderboards and streaks and stuff like that. So we'll be talking about that. And what else was there? Can't remember. Subs, obviously, you can't do a show without talking about subs. People, fume regularly, every weekend, don't they, and stuff like that, always blaming So Rare inside. But and now we can blame you for that as well, can't we, Chris? As you obviously used to have Predictify and then moved across to So Rare inside.
Exactly, yeah. It's been on the whole going well, really, kind of business as usual with one prediction site to another is very similar. There's just more of us now, and more heads, I guess, kind of working and pulling together and stuff. But yeah, it's been on the whole, it's been a good season, I think, in terms of So Rare inside.
How's it going on the site then now? Like, obviously, doing a prediction site, you're always going to be sort of like the brunt of people's especially when it's integrated into So Rare itself, and obviously at the end of the day, I think they've even got a disclaimer now, haven't they, on every single listing saying that, 80% is 80% in the predictor's mind, but that certainly doesn't mean they're a guaranteed starter. And I don't think you would ever see 100% starter because people get all kinds of stuff. Coaches change.
Yeah, we have the like the key at the top of each lineup, like you're saying. It was my idea that it was something I wanted to introduce on Predictify. a while ago, and you know, a few of the ideas that we had in the pipeline we brought across, and that was one of them. So the idea of that is just so that, you know, subscribers and then the experts making the lineups can follow the same percentage module. So model, sorry. So you know what 70% kind of should equate to, or what 90% should equate to. You still find that people don't follow it or don't use it as they should, which is frustrating when we're kind of trying to give them all the tools that, you know, they can use. And mistakes are still made and things are still missed. And, you know, we still get kicked every week when there's a DMP, which is frustrating. And I have to bite my tongue from not trying to respond to everybody on X, because it doesn't really get you anywhere.
There was one particular one this weekend with a guy running, I think it was, is it Behab or Sorare Cattle or something like that, fuming that he got a DMP goalkeeper. And I remember looking at that because I've got one of the goalkeepers on there, and obviously didn't use him because he was 60%. And, you know, the goalkeeper situation there is up in the end. Obviously, CJ Dos Santos is injured, and I think he's getting close to coming back, but not yet. And then there's two other goalkeepers, isn't there? And like no one was 100% sure who was going to start. And he put that, you know, a 60% goalkeeper in the team. And in my opinion, you're sort of just asking for trouble doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
I worry about putting 80% players in there. And fumed.
To be honest, the 60-40 is really a 50-50 most of the time.
Yeah.
We're not allowed by Sorare to put a rating of 50% on the site. They kind of enforce that we have to go one way or another. So that's a Sorare directive that we have to follow, that a lot of people probably aren't aware of. So when you see any 60-40, I would say really it's kind of a 50-50 situation. And like you say, I mean, I would, outside of like a D3 lineup, I just wouldn't use those players, or I'd wait and maybe chuck them into a late arena or something like that. But I think, you know, everyone's entitled to build lineups how they want. If you're running a super rare lineup that you spent a lot of money on in the season cards early on in the season, and you're then being quite vocal about complaining about a DMP keeper that you've used, there's not a lot of grounds to point the finger at the prediction. To be fair to him, and I'm sure he would also say this, I don't think he didn't even mention the percentage or the prediction. His gripe is with the game design and the fact that there isn't any substitute or kind of, you know, DMP solution. So I read it as that was his gripe, but equally, you've got to play the game in front of you as it is today. You know, it's all good having this stand and being a bit righteous about it and saying there should be a solution, and maybe there should be, and we can all have opinions on that. But as it stands today, that's not the game we've got in front of us. So simple as like what you're saying, David, just don't take that risk on if you don't need to.
Yeah. And I was doing my lineups this morning and yesterday for this midweek. And, you know, the only thing is obviously the Prem's going this midweek. The only sort of positive to that is that it's the FA Cup this weekend. So a lot of the teams can rotate this weekend, which makes me think that a lot more, you know, there'll be less rotation this midweek. But, you know, if you just look down, you know, all 90 and 80%, 90, 80%, 90, 80%, Matthias Cunha 70%. That's really good. I don't have much else to put in there. But I can guarantee I will get DMPs in these lineups. Absolutely guarantee. You know, and I certainly won't be blaming anyone because, you know, that's football. Football change. And as you said, I think his main gripe was really that there was no sub function on Sorare. And, you know, this is something that pops up every single weekend, and I think it will continue to. And I think Sorare probably, you know, set themselves up on this because they spoke about introducing something at like the preview to Sorare 26. There was a Dan and Nico interview, wasn't there, on YouTube. And they spoke about having some sort of functionality, or at least testing some sort of functionality for this season. That never came in. then a lot of people thought they might do something for MLS. I thought they might try and do something for MLS as a sort of test ground for it, but they haven't done it for that either. And I think part of the problem is that, it's really 50-50. And a lot of the people Sorare speak to, if 50% of them don't want it, then it's just sort of a hotbed. But it's so divisive, this subject, that I just don't think it's ever going to go away. Hoodwink, what do you think on sort of subs?
Well, Nico has dangled a wee carrot as well, where he replied to Yorkie Will, saying that they're seriously looking at it again. But so maybe
something like at one point last year, didn't they? When it was going into it's this year. I don't know. I lose track of all my. No, it's last year, wasn't it? When it was going into Sorare 26, they said they were going to do some sort of,
considering it. Aye. Didn't they quite say they were, but it was kind of like an inference they were. But I don't know. Like, even when you say it's 50-50, it's still no 50-50. And like people, I think it's funny. It depends where you chat to people as well. Like, again, mentioning Yorkie Will, he like chats in Laird's Discord, for example. That's his main there in Twitter. And usually, if he puts, and that Discord is pretty like positive for subs and like, or a DMP solution of some sort. And sometimes, like, when I don't often like to chat in it, because sometimes like people can take the piss a bit when you like disagree. That's the one thing I hate about Twitter, when you try and have a conversation about it. People just like take the piss at your opinions and stuff like that. And if you didn't think we need a solution, you can get ridiculed for the pro subs guys. And I hate conversations like this. So sometimes I stay out of them a lot more than I used to now, because I don't know, it's no fun to chat about when people are so kind of passionate, and there is a lot of money involved in that kind of thing. But I'm still like, I think if they did bring in something, and it would, like, one thing I would just hate is like rolling locks and like late swaps, particularly, like just when they do that for Europe. For me personally, I didn't even look at it. I'm usually with Mark getting him like his dinner ready and bath time and bedtime and stuff like that. I'm not going to look at my Sorare lineups at that time. And like K-League that I play religiously, like it's 5 a.m. starts. I set my alarm for 5 to 5. I'm not setting my alarm for 4 o'clock to start looking at lineups for a game and that kind of thing. So stuff like rolling locks, it would be a pain. But like, if there was something like pre-deadline and it was something that, was easy, I don't know how Sorare would do it, but a bench seems like what could be a sensible option, which it doesn't affect people too much, but like it obviously helps bigger galleries and people like me. It's probably going to affect me negatively, as much as people that say that it's no going to, and they've run stats and stuff like that. I can guarantee that it's going to affect me negatively.
I would 100% guarantee that most users don't put in, if they put in 10 lineups, they don't just have 50 cards. They will have other cards that might play, and they can just stick those on the subs bench. But the problem with it is they think that agencies like, or not agencies, galleries like Pranksies and stuff like that will, be able to put Kimmiks on the bench for the Bundesliga one. I just don't see it. Why would you waste like a Kimmik card and now you just stick it in something else, wouldn't you? You don't want to put him in a position where he just might not come on.
Aye, but for example, like more and more they're going for like single league competitions. So like K-League, for example, you can like I'm not even playing rare this season. So like say I'm a limited, I've not got 5 teams yet. It's early in the season. I've got probably 3 like proper teams, maybe 4. Like I know, like for the leaderboard, you can only put in 1, to be fair. But so I know if I've got 6 teams, like I'm probably pretty stretched. And my leaderboard one, which I'm going to take seriously as well. Like I finished 4th this week on the leaderboard one, which is brilliant. But I know, like I probably wouldn't have finished 4th if we had subs. If there was like, I'm not saying that they're going to have like Kimmich on the bench, but they're going to have better players than me stretching to my, K-League 19-year-old that I've crafted that's never going to get a game, like that I've just chucked in just in case like someone doesn't play. And they're probably going to have better players, like, and because they've spent more money. So I think some people, like when I say they've spent more money, some people would say, well, they deserve to have a better chance. And I don't think that's.
No, I don't think that's like something that should come into it at all.
But
I
just
think
mean like,
I think the only thing they could do to mitigate having that real strength on the bench is having a cap for the bench players and making it like, L45 or something, L45, L10, 45 average or something like that, so that you can't play really, OP players on your bench. But I do agree with you, David. I don't think there's going to be that many people who, if you're buying a Kimmich or a Elise, you're using them in a lineup. You're not going to sit them on the bench. And it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. I'd assume that it'd be in-season cards you'd need as well for your bench players. But I always have at the end of, like you say, when you've set your lineups for the week, I always have a load of cards left over that I'm not using who are just in, they just have bad matchups that weekend or that game week, and I don't really want to use them, or they've got a, they are a 60 or 70% to start, and I don't feel I can take a risk on them. So then I try and leave a certain amount of cards spare for arena as well, and try and enter a few late arenas. So I do always have surplus, but I get I agree with Hoodwink as well. At the start of the season, when the new cards come out and they're at their peak price wise, if you've then got to buy, say, a couple of extra cards per lineup, it's going to get a lot more expensive quite quickly. As you go on in the season, I think you build collections out, and you do just end up with more cards and more players per region. But yeah, at the start of the season, it's when prices are high, it's a bit prohibitive to the smaller user.
And if people do want subs, then there's going to be a trade-off, isn't there? Like, they're not going to give you subs in season tournaments and then have the targets exactly the same. The targets would go up.
Streaks would be different because, like, that's no, like, when I say that I'm going to lose it, like, with streaks, it's completely different. I was talking about leaderboards there, but for streaks, how can they balance it to be, fair for them and us type thing? Because, if it's just like late swaps and no cap and the same target and stuff like that, you'd imagine that the payouts are going to go quite high compared to what they are just now. So they've really, would it be like a higher target, or maybe, what was the one Light Sorare on Discord had mentioned, like, if you do use a sub, if you hit your target, it saves you for relegation, but you didn't get the streak, which I didn't really care about relegation too much, and I suppose with the divisions that kind of maybe throws that out as well. But stuff like that, just kind of thinking out the box kind of options, because it's not going to be as simple as the same targets, and you can use any player or in season, obviously, and it's going to be.
What about? I've just thought of something there. What about if you could use a sub, but instead of getting the reward for the streak you're going for, you get 50% of the reward. So say instead of getting $50 for your streak, you get 25 instead if you have to use a sub. That could be but you don't kill your streak. You can continue to streak onto the next level up.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. But
still feels quite OP.
We've got a few more people in the chat. We've got Ollie in the chat. Says, what people need to realise that if Cole Palmer DMPs randomly, my bench player isn't going to be better than Cole Palmer, so it still hurts. And yeah, and I think that everyone realises that it's still going to hurt. If your best player, if someone's running a La Liga lineup and Yamal DMPs, well, he's the best player in the game, so whoever you got on your bench isn't going to be as good as him. And obviously that's the most extreme example. So it's still going to hurt, but I think it's more about just keeping people engaged. If people run 5 lineups and they have a DMP in sort of like 4 of those lineups, they get disinterested with sort of Sorare immediately over the course of the weekend. And yes, it's generally the bigger accounts that you hear being more vocal about this sort of stuff, but it's not just them that it affects. you know, it affects all kinds of people. I was speaking to someone the other day that sort of joined Sorare for the first time ever at the start of the season, and they just got bored with DMPs, and eventually they just completely lost interest and they don't even do their teams anymore. You know, and that's the sort of like the kind of experience that they need to try and avoid. And that's think why, you know, subs eventually or some sort of structure will come in. And I completely agree with you, Hoodwink, and I've said it all along. I would just like a bench. You can stick maybe like 2 spaces. Maybe they've got to be cap 45, as Chris says, you know, and you just put them on there. You don't have to use it. It's just a little bit of protection. You know, you could stick, you got the backup goalkeeper in one, that increases the price of backup goalkeepers. That's good for Sorare, you know, and like stick an outfield player on the other one, and that's it.
What about if you had a bench and your target would depend on the tier of the card or something like that? So if you had a K-League shitter, your target stays the same because he's like a 1-star. But if you have like a 5-star, you're going to have a 5-star Yamal on the bench. But if you do, your target goes up or something like that.
I don't know. You need to get the tiers right.
Complicated, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated.
Any of them will be quite complicated, to be honest. But
I think it's already, the thing is, it's already quite a complicated game, and it's not for us because we've all played it for years. So when you're explaining it to somebody else, I mean, there's a mate of mine who, you know, see most weeks for a coffee, and he plays FPL, and we chat about FPL, and I'm trying to get that. No,
my mate.
He's not my mate. I do have other friends other than just family members, David. I have to pay him 20 quid to come and sit and have a coffee with me, though. But, I mean, there's another word for that. I call him my friend, but anyway. But yeah, we sit and have a chat about FPL and stuff, and I'm trying to get him into Sorare, and I started talking to him the other week about Essence and all this, and I could just see him going. And this guy's, you know, he's older than me. He's 10 years older than me. The guy's 50, and he's going, Essence? Like, what are you talking? This is a fantasy football game. What are we talking about here? So it's like, it's already, when you're trying to explain to someone from the non-Sorare world, quite a hard sell. And then when you explain, yeah, there's 5 players in the team, but there's no subs, and then you can just see people glazing over and going, this is crazy. But people are, you know, the biggest fantasy game in the world is FPL, especially in the UK. And you have a bench of you know, keeper, and then I think it's 4 other players, isn't it? You have
3,
sorry, yeah. And it's getting your head around. All right, that's 11 aside, but getting your head around the fact that you've got a player that auto subs in. You've got that backup, and then on Sorare to just, you know, raw dogging and having five players, and if one doesn't play, you're dead. It's a hard sell, and I can see why. You know, when people have come to it new, or they're looking at it, they're just thinking this looks crazy. So I think they need to come up with something. Personally, I do think they need to. If they want to ever get to being more of a mainstream game and growing that audience as well, it needs to be more. It needs to be a softer landing spot from something like FPL. And
when you say you've got a DMP and you're dead, like, that's the one thing that I can easily get over, because I've got, even if I've only got, like, say I've got 3 lineups, like, I can easily get over one of the lineups. If I've got a DMP in everyone, that it's going to annoy me, but I get over it. But when I've got like 3 or 4 lineups in most competitions, like, a DMP it literally doesn't bother me one bit, even if it's like, I don't care if it's a high streak, you know, I was doing well on the leaderboard or anything like that. I've got other lineups that are keeping me logging into Sorare, like,
that is the complete, yeah. And to be fair, that is the counter to that argument about subs, is that, all right, you haven't got a subs bench, but you've got potentially 4 or 5 entries into a competition. So, like, say one dies, well, you go on to the next one anyway. And, you know, that is the format that kind of works. I think also now the fact that there is no relegation in, well, we think there's probably going to be no relegation in Sorare 27, and they've done away with that with the new competitions. helps that a lot, actually. It helps soften that a hell of a lot, doesn't it?
So to finish the subs before we move on then to sort of like new competitions and stuff, like Hoodwink, do you think subs in some form will come in for Sorare 27?
I don't know.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
For Nico's comment the other day saying we're seriously looking into it, that felt like, rather than, I don't know, for previous blogs and stuff like that, I've always thought, maybe it'll come in. And then they chatted about it on streams and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, it's probably coming. And then they didn't bring it in. And I thought, great, we can shut up about it for a while. But for him to do the wee dangle the carrot and just, I'm going to say no. But it will not shock me one bit if something comes in. The problem is, I just didn't think there's a good solution. I've never seen a good solution that anyone's brought up, and they can, I've seen a million different options, and way you can pick up parts and say, but what if this happens? And they're like, well, that's not for me to decide. That's for Sorare to look at. But, Sorare didn't seem to have a.
Basically, you're sitting on the fence.
I'm going to say no. I'll not sit on the fence.
No, okay. Chris, what about you?
I'm going to say I think they will bring something in.
I'm going to be the same as Chris. I'm going to say I think they will bring something in. And I think it will be something where you can use it. I think it might even be something like the bench. There might be a cap on it. If the sub comes in, I quite like Chris's idea of you can still get the streak, but it'll be halved. That gives Sorare a bit of protection as well, but it still means it keeps your streak alive, But I'm gonna sit here and say yes. Right, let's move on to sort of the competitions that were introduced for JK League, and MLS. And do we like them? Do we think that these are pretty much nailed on to come in for Sorare 27 for the European leagues? Just in case you're not aware, I'm assuming most people will be, but Sorare streaks and the leaderboard have been separated out. So you either enter one or the other. I think is it 4 or 5 teams you can enter into limited streaks, and on the leaderboard you just have a single entry that you put on there. So you're not running for the same teams in streaks, rather than the $3 or whatever you got at the start, which I appreciate that some people probably quite liked. For me, I never really bothered. In actual fact, I often took the essence anyway, especially at the start of the season, rather than sort of $3. Just because it's better for sort of building collections. They're doing away, or they have done away with these 3 leagues anyway, with the essence at the start. So as you can see, they've got for the first one, you get 500 essence, then you get for 380, you get 2,000 essence, then it moves on to the cash. And, obviously the cash is sort of, where it becomes, I guess, more meaningful. I guess at the leaderboards at the moment, it's been quite easy to get essence because there hasn't been huge amounts of people in there. Hoodwink, I know you're playing these. What's your opinion on sort of how they've worked it for the K League, J League, and MLS?
I quite like it. There has been a mixed response to it. Some people, especially in Discord anyway, so their Discord, with people saying my score with my streak would have done well on the leaderboard and that kind of thing. So being a bit pissed that they would miss out on that kind of thing. But I like this, kind of like an old school strategy where you used to, you don't do it as much now, but you used to have to decide where you put every lineup when we used to have All-Star Division 3 and Division 4, or GAS Division 3 and Division 4. Then you'd have Asia and stuff like that. I think it brings a bit of strategy. I spent so long on my teams last week when we K-League back, deciding to focus on leaderboard, where you get essence anyway. There's, I think it was 750 rewards and I don't know, 400 entrants. So you were getting essence, but eventually I decided, right, I'll put a good team in there, and then I'll put my best team in my streak. I put a Jean-Luc team in my streaks. And then leaderboard was my second priority, because I thought I may as well, there's good essence. You can't win cash, which isn't ideal. But I was sitting second for most of the weekend on I think I was 25k essence, which would have been fun, but I've dropped to 4th sadly, which is still 6k. so like a decent amount. So I like the strategy part of it. I like that you've got that I can have like 5, eventually have like 5 options for the streak, and I like that you get if you hit the target with like more than one lineup, you start to get half again of the essence or cash for your streaks. So I really like their parts there. The main thing is like the kind of strategy part and like having to think about building lineups rather than just thinking about which one's priority 1 for my streak. You're now having to think, do I go leaderboard or do I focus on the streaks?
Do you know off the top of your head how many people entered the K-League leaderboard competition last weekend?
For limited, it was like 398, and I think 750 rewards or something like that. So
no, 1,000 according to this.
Is it 1,000? Right. Aye. So it's free essence, even just having one player scoring, but it'll probably be the same for the next couple of weekends. J League's the same, and I think MLS was the same as well.
We're guessing they might lower it this weekend because there's less teams playing. So,
there's no 10 teams. That's a couple of games have been postponed for the Champions League, so it's gone under 10. So it is open just now. I'm hoping they keep it open. I'll put a team in. But if they kept it open, and even if it was lower rewards, that'd be cool. But I hope they didn't just close it. But
I'm assuming they will keep it open because people will be pretty pissed off. They bought cards on the second week they've done it, and they've deliberately bought teams that they know had games, and then suddenly you can't do it. That would piss me off anyway.
It's only recently games have been postponed, so so it's probably a hard one to have planned for. But I hope they keep it open, and I like that the streaks are open now. That if there's only one team playing, you can go for your streaks. Again, make that decision. Where before you would just skip it every time if it was if you didn't have like team spoon. But now you can, if you've got like if I've pretty much got the main guys from a Jumbo collection, so if they played one week and it was a small game week, means I could still go for the streaks, which is cool.
And on the K-League leaderboard, you can only win essence.
K-League and J-League is just essence.
Fair enough.
Like cash. If Sorare ever listen, give some cash.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the budget for like making like MLS has got cash, but I don't think they had like enough. No, the budget, but they wanted to still, without putting cash in it, they still wanted to make it really kind of juicy prizes. So like, was it 50k for winning, which would be fun. So the podiums are pretty good, and as I say, I'm 4th, and that's like 6k, which is decent enough to have a wee bit of fun with it, as long as then I get my usual crafts. But
well, going on what I read earlier, you'd probably be getting some Croatian player.
I think that's been fixed.
It's been fixed. Fair enough. And the last part of things I introduced was the Essence Grand Prix. I'll be honest, I haven't even looked into this. And for me, it's something that wouldn't make a huge amount of essence, but what are your thoughts on it, and what actually is Grand Prix Essence? Hoodwink?
So it's basically a shared pot. If you hit that target, which is a high target, it's not meant to be easy. I suppose the more you get into the season with your XP getting built up and stuff like that, but it's pretty high. But you share it. Whoever hits the target shares the essence, shares the reward.
Nice. And what are people's takes on that? What do they think about it?
So far, I've only seen that it's a high target and very tough to hit. So people are not quite expecting to hit it. But aye,
fair enough.
Same with the higher streaks as well, actually, because it's not been a high scoring start. J League and K League have been pretty low scoring to start.
Yeah,
so I think they're thinking Sorare might give them a wee lower the targets a bit if possible, but you never know.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, what do you think on the changes that they've made to sort of like the 3 competitions that have launched this season?
I'm not playing any of them at the moment. I don't think I will. I was slightly tempted by playing K-League, probably playing Rare, because I think it looks quite good value in terms of the card prices. But then I questioned it because of exactly what Hoodwink's just said there, where is it good value when actually you look at it and go, even the top cards in this competition aren't really high scoring cards, and there's not really any smashes. I mean, outside of obviously Hoodwink's mate, Cecilia, there wasn't really that many last season. There's players that can score well, but there aren't those kind of Messi type cards or Drea type cards as what you have in MLS. And in MLS, I was just really put off by the early pricing, so I didn't get involved.
Yeah, no, I haven't got involved, but I plan to play MLS and probably K League and then maybe J League in the summer. But yeah, the prices were so ridiculously high. Probably justified that they were that high. You can earn some decent money over the course of the year. We saw people last season, hitting the MLS streak constantly. I think someone did it 30 weeks on the spin or something, hitting the top one sort of consistently. So those top cards, but I imagine the prices will start to drop quite a bit.
I think they have. Yeah, I think they have already. That first week or 2 weeks is it always is a bit of a bubble in every competition, and obviously there's an incentive for getting in early with the boosted rewards and whatnot. I've got a couple of classic cards just in limited, Thomas Muller and whatnot, who probably not the absolute elite cards in MLS, but they're the kind of top level, and you could start to build a side around, I guess, having a couple of cards like that. So that's kind of the temptation. I think what puts me off a little bit this season is the scheduling around the summer comps, and the fact that, I mean, they are moving K League and not K League, J League and MLS. This is the last season that they're kind of in their current format, and then they're going to start following the European calendar from next year.
J League does that in the summer, doesn't it? Because obviously they're running a short tournament now, and MLS follows suit and does it next year. But obviously the World Cup sort of split up the season.
Yeah, that's my whole point a little bit with it, is that the European seasons run up to the end of May, and then there's going to be like a global break really for the summer with the World Cup being on, and that affects MLS, it affects J League and K League, and then once that finishes, you've kind of got, I mean, I think I looked at it and there's only like 3 or 4 matches in each of those comps before you start getting the European leagues back, in sort of mid-July, end of July, kind of around that period. And then we're in the run-up to the start of the European campaign. So I've kind of thought maybe I avoid it and it might spread me a little bit thin going into Europe next year. And I want to kind of try and go in with a decent bank to start playing next year quite quickly and see what that looks like over the summer. Format wise, I think there's a few strategies that come back into play now. So I like the fact that relegation's been got rid of. I think that's massive in terms of your streaks, because you could get a double whammy before of getting relegated in divisions and then losing your streaks, and it was just a bit of a gut punch. Whereas at least now you can kind of, all right, you can lose your streak, but you haven't also been hit in relegations. And I also think that it brings back into play what I call kind of your YOLO lineups, like your kind of punty, high upside, massive downside lineups that that you can take a risk on and they can go off, and playing them in a division, in a high division, you could never really do the last couple of seasons because you always thought, well, maybe this is a silly thing to be playing. When I had my mine stacks last year, my mine stack in D1 against Bayern every week because I'm risking relegation constantly. Whereas now you can put lineups like that, full stacks of not very well fancied teams. You can build some exciting lineups with, like I say, some sort of you try and max the bonus out on the lineup building bonus and stuff like that, and you can put them into your leaderboard comp, and there's no risk of relegation there. So I like that that's kind of an option now. I quite like that it's like a one bullet tournament in limited as well, and that, again, it's a level playing field that with everybody, you just have one go at it with your lineup, and again, it opens the door for probably the smaller galleries to go, yeah, I can win this one week, whereas
not if they get DMPs.
Not if they get DMPs. But it does open that again, where like, again, I play a lot of Bundesliga, and you have those weekends where Bayern and Dortmund play against each other, and they all score quite badly by and large. Maybe outside of Harry Kane, who got a couple of goals again this weekend, but and Kimmich, but most of them haven't scored particularly well, and they don't keep clean sheets. So you can run a lesser fancied lineup in that leaderboard comp without any fear that you're going to get relegated, and that's quite a nice thing, I think.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how I feel about them. Like, when it first came out, I was a bit wound up. I don't understand. But the more I thought about it, the more I guess it sort of makes sense. And as you said, doing away with leaderboards is quite good, because I always quite liked sort of buying into 3 Prem sides, and one was a punty one where everyone was expecting them to do shit, and I got lucky a couple of times with picking a team that actually ended up doing quite well, but that was less, there was less of a reason to do that this season because of the relegation, because the prizes were so poor in sort of Div 3 that, from running that side, then there's no point. So, I guess that taking that away is quite a good thing. And as I've said, having Essence right at the start of the streaks doesn't really bother me. I'm sure it will bother some people, and I appreciate that, $3, that might be sort of a sizable amount to some people when they're like looking at buying cards and stuff like that. For me, as I said, I always tended to take sort of the Essence instead. So, that's not really so much of an issue.
See, I would say I don't like that. I don't like that they've taken away the cash from the first 2 levels. It slightly puts me off playing limited next season, and maybe pushes me a little bit more to rare, because you can hit the cash from the second streak in rare. But I do like the I can't think what I call it now, but the multi reward that you can hit for that you can get that 50% of the prize for multiple lineups for hitting the target. There's a name for it. I know Hoodwink will know it. Go on.
Additive rewards.
Additive rewards, yeah. Which I think I really like that. And I guess swapping one for the other as you get to streak 3 onwards is quite nice. But I actually think getting past streak 3 is very hard. So you're basically relying on streak 3 for your cash in leaderboards. In streaks, because previously you might have, like you said, not huge amounts, but $5, $10 from or 3 and 5 if you're playing contender and whatnot in your lower 2 streaks. But if you're running that across a couple of different competitions, it can start to stack up, week on week, and then you mix that in with the odd streak 3, or maybe you get to a streak 4 and you're successful. But getting to winning streak 4, hitting the cash on that, and especially streak 5 is no mean feat. Streak 4's tough.
I get to streak 4 quite a lot, and then sort of like don't do it on the leagues that I sort of take seriously, which are sort of League One, Premier League, and I guess sort of like the Belgian league as well. I sort of backdoored into that and got to the final streak, so I ended up buying loads more cards. But so those are the ones that I sort of take more seriously, and I've done relatively well in them in terms of sort of reaching final streaks. I've only hit it once, I think, in Prem Limited, although I've got to the rare one as well a couple of times. But
I never hit any of the K-League ones this weekend.
You're on what?
Never hit any of the K-League ones this weekend. I done well in the leaderboard, but my streaks were just
It looks a hard competition for streaks, to be honest. I think, and then the frustrating part is the leaderboards hasn't got cash. That's the issue, I guess, with it. But yeah, it's if anyone's going to do well at it, you're going to be one of the people who the league inside out, so you're going to do well. But I just think, from me looking at it as someone new to it with new eyes, I just look at it and go, I'm not sure how many top players there are in that division to hit the streets consistently. And midfield seems a big problem as well with in-season cards. I think the players, you have to run a classic midfielder. And I know some of the, I wrote the article on Sorare and I with Sorare Soul a few weeks ago, and some of the and listened to your podcast you guys did as well with Ross the other week, and just some of the classification of the midfielders as forwards looks crazy, doesn't it? So
you've got to think that, like, is it Obadan? You've got to think that he gets as a midfielder because he's a defensive midfielder.
It's massive.
It's put people off buying the forward card. I don't know when reveal day is, but I would bet that if he does convert to midfielder, that his price will go up, as soon as that happens. But
the AA scores like 6 points lower on average or something, which is like massive, isn't it?
Such a weird one, and B Pro have asked for that as well. Like, why? Like, I get some of them. Like, I know Arsenal a few years ago had Saka as a forward card, I can't remember. It was one of them, and you could understand it. But like, why? It's probably the weirdest one I've ever seen in like Sorare history for a position change. So stupid.
Your K-League team from last weekend is on third now.
You what?
It's third, so you're getting 12.6k absence.
Wait a minute. Why would it be third? What's happened there? Oh,
You've got a bit of Opta action, a bit of Opta love.
B Pro, not Opta.
Oh yeah, sorry, B Pro. Yeah,
B Pro.
Still, like, winds me up because I use SofaScore for like checking football scores, and I like waking up on like the weekend, and the first thing I'll do, one of the first things I'll do, is go and check like K-Leagues, and it just doesn't have the numbers as you've got no idea how players have done. You have to go into Sorare then, and then dig out the game to find out how like players have done. But what were you beforehand? You were fifth. Did you say you were fifth at the start of the show?
No, I was fourth, but I can see who's missing. So basically, I dropped out of the podium because there was a bug with Suwon and Daegu actually cards. They were still shown as in season. So Ollie, who's in the chat actually, he had Anderson Oliveira as a classic card, which counted as in season, and he went up to second. He's not there now, which feels pretty bad.
Ollie's saying they cancelled his lineup.
No, they can't do that. They can't do that.
I would say if they've let you enter the tournament, then that's their fault, isn't it? But
I would take the win hoodwink and run.
Yeah, it's a bit tough.
It's harsh though, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I love the Babik, the guy that we all bought on after he moved there, got an assist, then 2 yellow cards, and obviously a red card then as well. Great start to his K-League career. But yeah, that's a tough one. So, like, I guess in terms of like, if they put these like structures of costs to Premier League, for instance, start for next season, how would you feel about it?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
If they started doing all of this structure for Premier League next year, how would you feel about it?
I think it'd be good. I like it. I do like the structure. I think I'm going to be like kind of like laser focused on one league at a time. Like, not one league at a time, but like this season, like K-League, all I want to do is build up my K-League team till I've got like 6 lineups. And then like just batter XP onto them as well, and just focus on that and just make that like contender. I don't know what will happen with contender. I hope they didn't chuck that, but I'd probably I've not played Prem this season, so or any of the big 5 leagues really. I played League One for a bit, but I didn't really enjoy it. But I think the structure's good. I don't think it's for everyone though. I think there'll still be some complaints about it for a wee while. But I like it. Personally, I like it.
What about you?
Some one league, so.
Yeah, I think it's all right as well, to be fair. I mean, like I said, just the first 2 levels, I'd like to see cash there still, but it's not upsetting me enough that it's a huge issue. And I like the additive rewards as a kind of replacement for that. I think, like Hoodwink says, if you spread yourself too thin, there's a chance that you're not getting to Street 3 very often because your resources are too spread. And then if you're only hitting...
I did a tournament when I thought I'd got enough players to continually do well in it. Then I moved on to the next one and sort of mirrored across like that.
I think I kind of stopped too quick on that because I had that good win in November and I've just been sat on this pot of cash ever since. And I let it dwindle down a bit and then I get a couple of wins and it goes back up. But I've just been sat on the same cash for a while and I kind of felt, I'm too late now. And I wasn't really. I think in hindsight, I wish I'd played Challenger because Challenger looks like it was easily the most, I would say it was the easiest streaks comp probably this season. But I do think, I think you've just got to be kind of maybe a bit more disciplined than I've been. I mean, I've played Bundesliga as my priority all season. I've played Ligue 1 quite heavily as well since maybe October. I'm on streak 4 for Ligue 1 this weekend as well, and I've got Lons against Metz at home, which looks about as good as you can get. So I'm quite hopeful on
streak 4 for challengers this weekend's coming up, but I had a quick look and it's a bit of a weird weekend. Like, the teams in Portugal, one of them is playing each other. I can't remember which one, and the other one is not got an easy matchup either. Is there no Scotland this weekend? Either way, it's not a great weekend for challengers, I don't think.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, Bundesliga, I got to Streak 5 for the first time 2 weekends back, and it was just it was an absolute disaster. It was when Bayern beat Frankfurt 3-2, and they were cruising, up to an hour. They were 3-0 up, and they like to ship a few goals like every week. So that was a bit of a disaster. But I've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed this season. I think Sorare 26 has been excellent as a format, and it doesn't need to change a huge amount. I think there's just little tweaks they can do, and we've got a nice format in place now where it seems to reward. Obviously, it rewards investment. You have to keep investing in your lineups throughout the season, but it rewards skill and people making an effort and hard work, I think, as well. And I think if you're prepared to do that and go in with a bit of a strategy, you should do all right with the format it's in. But yeah, I just wonder with that's my only slight concern is with the first 2 cash streaks disappearing. I think that it'd be interesting to kind of review your season and try and track how much of your cash you obtained in those first 2 streaks versus the rest of it, and then look at maybe how that's going to impact you for next season. I haven't done that, but my feeling is that you hit the first 2 90% of the time plus, and then streak 3 is kind of where it becomes maybe 50-50 and you fail sometimes. And if your cash is only at streak 3, it takes you're having to keep getting back up to there before you start earning cash again. And yeah, I don't know what that looks like from an impact point of view. But again, with the additive rewards, you should hit a streak 3, hit a streak 4, and there's definitely times I've hit that with 2 or 3 lineups in Bundesliga this season. And if you're doing that, 3 lineups on a streak 3 or 4, you're going to come out with some decent cash, aren't you, off the back of that? So that's new. So yeah, on the whole, I like it. I'm happy as well with like Hoodwink said. And yeah, just the other final point. Sorry, I will shut up in a minute. contender is something I would be looking at for next season, but I want to see what happens with it and what leagues we end up with, what rights they renew. I think there might be a merged challenger and contender competition maybe next season, and it'll be interesting to see what that looks like as well.
That'd probably be sensible, I think, because it's the mere single leagues that we're getting is just there's nothing left. Ian Beale.
I mean, I guess it's whether we get a SPFL or a Croatia, isn't it? They're the only other ones that are probably full leagues. Austria as well. But whether there's demand to do a full league with like the Austrian league, I don't know really.
Just for that K-League thing, I'll do it rather than typing in the chat. But for Ollie, the people that had the bugged cards, they've been removed from the leaderboards, but they'll still get what they were on to get. So Ollie will still get his 25k essence.
Is that directly from Sorare?
Aye, so I've just been speaking to Light. And people that were meant, people are going to the leaderboard for the position that they should have been in, which is why I'm third rather than a bug like putting me off the podium.
So what actually happened?
So it's just the relegated cards. For some reason, it happened recently with Di Maria. I don't know what happened with him, but Di Maria and Paredes is his name for Rosario, where they were counting for in season, even though it was a classic card for like the first game week of the season. So it was bugged in. Then this week it's been the main ones have been like. In fact, the main one's probably Anderson Oliveira, who plays for Seoul. He has Suwon cards. They got relegated to K2, and his Suwon cards were still counting as in season. So, like Ollie, for example, had Oberdan Classic and Anderson Classic, but Anderson was counting as an in-season card. So everyone that had like Anderson or Yoon Bit Garam, probably a few others, have taken like Anderson scored really well. He got 80 points or something. So loads of people have played 2 classic cards and went above people in the leaderboard that had 1 classic card. So just a bug. It's been fixed now, but it's not ideal. Kaylee's been fully bugs this weekend, to be fair. It's not been the best opening weekend for us. But
no, well, I think isn't part of the issue the stats provider there as well. The stats weren't coming through as well.
Aye, like I was up. I'm such an idiot. So I set my alarm for like 4:30 for Daegu, watching K2 at 5:30 in the morning. Bloody hell, it's my life. But I set that on Saturday morning to watch Daegu.
How did they get on?
We won 1-0. Were we Sunday? Whatever day it was. Sunday it was, I think. So we won 1-0, but it was pretty poor. They missed a penalty. Really, it was quite a depressing watch, to be fair. I thought we would have I thought this would have been a good season where we just win loads of games, and like Suwon's the other team. In fact, there's another couple of teams. Suwon and Suwon Blue Wings are both like really big teams as well. But I thought, right, this will be easy promotion. But after watching that, I'm a bit. It's first game of the season, so it doesn't matter. But I set my alarm for like 4:30 for Sunday morning, and then for some reason my alarm went at 4:30 on Monday morning. I must have
I'm sure your wife appreciated that.
But I woke up, I was like, why the fuck's my alarm going off? And it was Anyang was coming on, so I was like, I'll just watch the Anyang game. And then there was no live scoring, so I was second until like the 99th minute. And then the scores updated and I dropped off the podium. I was like, oh no, what's going on here? Like the live scoring, like not having live scoring is just such a buzzkill. But hopefully, I'm hoping that was like an opening weekend B Pro brain fart and like they get their act together. Because without live scoring, it's tough. Like, because you're already watching games, some of them are like no commentary and stuff like that at like 5 a.m. You need something to kind of keep you like engaged. And people that are new to the league, I speak a lot about K-League, and like a lot of people have messaged me saying like, right, I'm gonna play it for the first time this season. Like Amrizi and like Yorkie Will and stuff like that, and they're like, this is shit. There's no scoring. What's going on? Right. Hopefully it's a one-off.
Yeah, Michael Pallett, he's been asking lots of questions, hasn't he?
Aye.
Michael Pallet, aka Neil.
No, he's not Neil. Neil, like Michael Pallet can spell.
That's my conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but yeah.
Disco's been so busy since he came in. Like he's like really like wants to get knowledge about a lot of leagues and that kind of thing. It's great.
He seems a nice enough chap, but yeah, he's in the Ramble Discord. That's what we're speaking about. But what would Mrs. Bullstar say, Chris, if your alarm went off at 5:30 in the morning on a Monday morning? When she's a nurse, isn't she? Does she work in hospital? So she's probably used to it.
No, I don't think she'd take too kindly to it, to be honest. She doesn't work on Mondays. So, although she usually gets up a lot earlier than I do anyway. So she usually has to kick me out of bed in the morning.
Why doesn't that surprise me? But yeah, I was looking, I saw the Dryer unique card is up on auction, finishing 8 p.m. tomorrow UK time. How much do you reckon it goes for?
I don't know what's that unique, did you say?
Yeah. I'm so far removed from unique these days.
Yeah, I
wouldn't even have a clue, but
I wouldn't even be able to guess within £10,000 of what it would be.
Let's have a look at
what MLS ones have we had so far?
You can't really see which ones. I'm just having a look to see who.
We haven't had a Messi yet, obviously, have we?
No Messi.
For unique.
No, I don't think so, no.
Oh, it's on auction. The Messi's on auction.
Yeah, no, I saw that one's up there as well. But
might put a bid in. About £9.
I don't know who played.
It's already on 76.
Who are the whales in like Akani? He's been playing. Is his name Akani on here?
Do they come up as Akani? It has got a slightly different name, I think, but
Akani Karua. Like I know he's in.
Oh
yeah, there we go. But he's been buying quite a few. It looks like he's buying into.
He's bought like every collection.
I did see Neil was having a moan at him, like, "Oh, you're ruining the game for everybody." And he's like, "Can you DM me?" Why the fuck would he DM you if you just had a go at him?
Spent like hundreds of thousands of pounds. How's that ruining the game? We love you, Akani.
Yeah, no.
Prize pool's juicy.
I think he's doing quite well, isn't he? I saw that someone asked him what his ROI is, and I think he's already at like sort of 15%, like a week and a half into the season, 2 weeks into the season or something. So obviously with all the J League cards, what's put me off buying them this season? One, the prices were high, and also you've only got them for like 3 months, haven't you, until the end of the season? It's like a really short tournament.
I've got a wee, I think I've got a few Tokyo players and Antlers. No for Antlers, and I've just put them in the leaderboard, and I'm just going to do that every week, score like 300 points and hope to get like the first couple of weeks I'll get free essence, and then just hope to get a lucky clean sheet and a goal or something, maybe sneak something over the season. But I spent like 12 quid or something. Yeah,
I need to have a look through and sort of crack on and buy, like as I said, I bought what was his name? I can't even think of his name now.
One.
Yeah, Kim Dae-won. And then didn't buy anybody else. So I need to still probably buy some, but maybe it's a good time to buy some of players that aren't, or teams that aren't playing this weekend. But
probably.
Yeah.
I was going to say one thing, just for sorry, this is going way back, but with the no cash for the first 2 streaks, my plan, if I ever hit a streak, that is, but my plan, which I'm team no sell, but if I can get a couple of decent crafts for them, rather than doing what I usually do, which is just buy a complete collection of like a random team just because I've crafted someone, just sell them and try and build my cash up that way. And I've got a wee ROI spreadsheet for the first time ever. So try and sell a few players, and if you get lucky with like tier 2s and above, or like a star or something like that, you make like a bit of your money back rather than just relying on the cash streaks. I think that's probably me trying to be sensible. Whether that pans out or not. But
yeah, it's a difficult one. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about the World Cup. Obviously, it's a few months away now. What tournament do you think they'll do, and what would you like to see them do? Start with you, Chris. Will I go and use the bathroom?
I think we definitely get a new version of sets. I think that goes without saying. That we'll get a World Cup edition of that. I think we'll probably get a it's called Coliseum, isn't it? The 100 entry arena kind of thing. I think we'll get that. And then I think we'll get something else new as well that we haven't seen yet. So hopefully we get some sort of competition with maybe just a mixture of prizes in cash and experiences and stuff like that. They can't really give away any cards whatsoever because supply will be non-existent, I guess, by then, for one. And then also we're going to be, end of season really. And I remember the last international tournament, you were winning cards. I think it was the last World Cup, wasn't it? Which was only 3 years ago, wasn't it? It was the winter one. 2.5 years ago.
The Euros really. As well. Euro 24.
Maybe it was the Euros, yeah. Where we had rivals, didn't we?
Aye.
Which was great, wasn't it? The rivals was. We did well in that as well, and I enjoyed the rivals competition. I think you quite enjoyed that as well, didn't you, David? We were kind of head to head in different teams, weren't we, on that, and both did quite well.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. Yeah, really. Obviously, they got rid of rivals after that, but I think I heard when I was in the bathroom that you said Sorare sets and maybe something for like normal cards. It's quite and I think also you said it's quite difficult with the normal cards because they obviously don't have any stock left of any of them, so they can't really sort of introduce. But I think they really have to do something for like normal cards on top of.
There'll be something new. I think there'll be something new that we don't know about yet. Some big competition, but they can't give out cards. That's the problem. It'll have to be cash or experiences. I mean, what they've done with the championship is quite interesting. I haven't really played it, but I think we probably again know people who've done very well at it. Neil being one, McBride being one, who both this weekend been in Spain. So they've been in McBride was in Barcelona. All expenses trip with his dad and his brother. I think they gave him €1,000 to spend. So that's literally money can't buy experience. That I think we'd all, as football fans, everyone would love to go and do that. So it's made me think really a little bit, going, well, actually, should I be playing Championship? And it's something I've just not bothered with whatsoever. I think the problem for me is that, it takes into account XP bonus on in-season cards. So I wouldn't be prepared to kind of prioritize my better in-season cards in that comp, I don't think. Whereas, again, maybe people with bigger galleries would if they've got duplicates and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope we have something like that because I think it's been a successful competition, that, and the people who've been playing it properly are really, have really got behind it and made a real effort. So that's where they can always, build something that's really cool is with those kind of prizes, I guess, and they've got endless amounts of signed jerseys and stuff they can put into a prize pool, and I think a mixture of that and cash and experience prizes would be nice for the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, if they did like a World Cup final ticket, all expenses trip, then I'm pretty sure people would play that, wouldn't they? But
that come complete with bulletproof vest and bodyguard. In the States, I'm not sure how much I'd fancy going over there at the moment, to be honest. But
I think they did say was it maybe Momo on Laird's stream, where he said like when he was asking about, he said something like, "I wouldn't plan your strategy around the World Cup like for pro," which makes me think like if they've not got cards to reward, they've not got cards to sell by that time, apart from like relying on the shitters probably like. So I
would be pretty pissed off if they just had All-Star during the World Cup.
if they made like sets and quick play and stuff like that massive, like
Yeah.
if they
Yeah, but
if they were,
I think that, it's probably a lock that they run sets. Although I'd love to know how many. I mean, I don't know whether you know, Hoodwink, how many people have actually hit the 1,000 so far.
I don't know.
No, I've been close to the 100 a couple of times, but
I quite like the quick play. Like I never played it last night, or like I chucked in whatever I had. I'd never taken it seriously, and I wish it timed better because like now I can use it for K League. So I got $2 market credits for I can't remember who I had the other day, but I had someone over the weekend. So I hit like step 1, just with like a guy that I hadn't put in a lineup. And then I put 2 for the day. I actually bought a player for it for like 80p for the Champions League game of the day, and I missed it. So I had like 2 people there. But I think if I had like a bigger K League gallery built up, I was actually thinking about cancelling a lineup that didn't win in for the weekend, and chucking a couple of them in this morning for Gang 1. But I just ended up buying someone that I can use for J League.
Reset in 27 minutes.
Aye. So I think if I can build up my gallery so I'm happy with my lineups, I think I'd take it quite seriously as well for the for quick play.
I think quick play is really hard, Like I tried to play it a bit in the AFCON, and I got to the step 3 a few times, and then it's just the thing that you don't appreciate when you're playing an SO5 lineup, I guess, is that you can sort of get away with a bit of a crap score from a player, because if you have a couple of others that post massive scores, you can still finish pretty high up. But literally, because it's just one player, if that one player fails, you're just dead, and you're back to square one again. That's what's really hard about it.
I think who was it? I think was it Ryan Walter. I think I seen in Laird's Discord that had done brilliant over the weekend. I think I can't remember actually if he was really doing well with sets, or if he was doing well like buying and selling. But I know he'd made quite a bit of profit, like over £100 profit. I think for sets, sorry, for quick play, either playing it or buying and selling players that were in demand.
The trading was good on it. That's what I found in the AFCON, that you get these windows of just like extreme demand. So you can pick players up 4 or 5 days before that you spot, and then that window from like the night before to kick off, you're just getting inundated with offers, and it's very easy to sell players into that demand, because there's not that. I mean, that was especially the case with the I think it was the winter edition cards, wasn't it? For the AFCON. So it was only those cards that were eligible. Whereas if it was just any card for the World Cup, I don't think you'd really get that same. There'd be too many cards on the market. But yeah, it's interesting what they do with it. But yeah, quick play, I guess, is the other thing they can do, isn't it? They can do something quite big with that as well. But I think sets might end up being the main mode.
I think so. Aye, because they've gone big on it just now, and this is like almost testing to see what works, and then we'll have another. I think that probably will be the main thing, and then if we get a pro tournament, great. Maybe it's probably a bonus, though. I think
that I'd be a bit upset if they didn't do anything for pro at all, and I appreciate it won't be the biggest thing they do because they've got no more cards to sell, obviously, but they have to do something that like a World Cup comp where you put your team in and it has a bit of cash in there. But yeah, I appreciate it won't be the biggest thing. I imagine the biggest thing will either be sets or quick play, as you said. But
to be fair, they could do something like, like say with the European leagues comp, where it's only the top 10 places that pay out cash. They could even do that, and they could, something they could use again is they could potentially give away market credits for next season early, lower down the leaderboard. They've got to be careful how they manage that, of course, but they could give you kind of something to kickstart European Sorare 27, and maybe market credits that lasted for 60 days or something, rather than the 30-day ones, and then that would last you into that. Should last you into that window of kind of the new card launch. So that'd be a nice reward for people as well, I think.
You didn't really get market credits now. When I bought my I fell for the mega cart promotion thing yesterday. So I spent like a tenner on John Wick Guys just to get the collection points up. And I was like, I've got like £1.50 credits or something like that. I was like, I've not seen them in months. That is from my $2 reward for Quick Play. But yeah, you didn't really see them much.
No, you don't.
I'm not a big fan of credits, but I like when I have them and I'm like, I'm getting a discount now, even though like I know I'm probably overpaying and everyone else has bumped the price up because they've got credits and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I also want some.
Do you see them as cash or do you see them as just a bit of money off a buy?
A bit of money off, like, because it's no cash. If it was cash, I could withdraw it or do what I want with it, secondary market, stuff like that. So, just a wee bonus.
Just having a look, it's so difficult trying to work out. I was looking at the championship because they've got. It's so difficult trying to work out who pull up the actual leaderboard. Maybe I'm just not clicking on the right thing. Anyway, but yeah. I think, for the World Cup, what's your opinion on Sorare set? It's difficult.
I quite enjoy it actually. I play it every day.
Did you buy any gems, or did you just go free to play?
Just free to play, but I think if you're patient, after a certain amount of time, just by the variance of it, you end up getting some good players anyway. I've got 3 or 4 Madrid players, and I've got PSG guys, and not the top PSG guys, but I've got guys that are usable, and the way that they rotate. I mean, I have like Lucas Hernandez, who got 99 the other day, and Kangin Lee, and and stuff like that. I've just got an Oblak the other day, who's by far the best keeper I've got now. So it's hard to start with. You need to be lucky and get a keeper, but once you kind of get rolling on it, I think you. Personally, I don't think you need to spend money on it, but it's like anything where if you spend a bit, it's like a fast track to give you more chance of doing well, I guess. But it's definitely playable without spending, I think. And again, I'm on streak 3 at the minute, but I'd be surprised if I don't get to streak 4 with the players I've got now.
I think I spent £100 on it just at the start. I just wanted to see how easy it was to actually sort of recoup the money. And as I said, I've, done okay. I've got to the £100, like the $100 a couple of times, but I don't have quite enough decent players to sort of do it on a regular basis.
Have you won $100 or have you failed at the $100?
No, I failed on it every time. So yeah, we'll see.
It's a high score though, isn't it? Is it 440 when you get there? Or yeah.
Yeah, 440. Which I've actually gone past a couple of times. I think. Let's have a look. I think my team in I got only 5 in streak 3 in the third one.
You only get in the season and collection bonus, don't you? And captain. There's no other bonuses on there, is there?
You don't get in season. The only bonus you get is the collection for the team. Yeah, the bonuses
That's what makes it hard.
But I guess so. I mean, this is a test for Sorare as well. They'll see how many people hit it and then adjust going forward. But yeah, it is quite tough to do. I would love to know how many people have actually sort of reached those sort of top targets. I know a lot of people. I know some people who sort of put in sort of 200 as well and see how they've gone on with it. But
it's fun to watch. We've got a channel on the Discord for it, and seeing everyone going for it's actually probably one of the busiest channels in the Discord now, like the Sorare Discord. And I think I've spent like a $5 or something. I thought I'll just buy a pack to you if I get anyone. I had like $5 balance, so I'll just buy some gems. And it was crap, but I've never because it's leagues that I didn't play. I've never really taken it seriously. But I think if it was like K-League or like Asia, I probably would put quite a bit of money. No, quite a bit of money, but maybe like maybe the £100 that you've done, possibly, if I had it spare.
I don't think I'd do one for K-League with though. There just wouldn't be enough people wanting to do it.
Surely there would be. K-League's the best league in the game. You didn't get DMPs, so.
The World Cup, though, will do. But anyway, listen, anything else you guys wanted to speak about this week before we get out of here?
Well, now I can claim that I've got a K-League podium on its first week back. Even though it might be a bit of drama when I go back and check on Discord, but up the K-League, up the podiums. Buzzing with that.
Yeah, that's nice, yeah.
Yeah, well done on that.
12,500 essence.
Is that right? Sounds about right, hi.
Yeah, it was 12,000 and then you're getting 600 for your boost. But yeah, that's pretty decent. So you're going to have fun like crafting tomorrow evening when they come out. You're going to start ripping and hopefully pull some absolute gems.
Never know. See, I actually didn't like essence in general. Like, I just didn't enjoy crafting. But when it came up on Friday, was it Friday night? After deadline kind of passed, it was like K-League's now able to be crafted. I was like, fuck, I'm going straight in. And I go to Matias Oliveira, who's like probably my favourite player in K-League just now. So I'm back to liking crafting again. But the rest of it.
Or Anderson Oliveira?
Matias Oliveira.
Matias.
Cezinha.
Yeah. I need to have a look and get a few. Just rattle them in. Chris, anything else from you?
No, that's about it for me.
Yeah. I don't know whether we'll be back next week. I'm going up to my mum's either next week or the week after. Hopefully next week. If I'm here, we'll be doing it. Regardless, I need to get my helmet sorted. It's getting slightly out of control again.
It's me.
Yeah, actually, that came across a bit wrong, didn't it? My hair helmet.
Good luck.
You get some cream for that, Dave, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to see a doctor about my helmet. But yeah. Anyway, that's everything from us this week. We shall be back next week, hopefully, if not the week after. But yeah, well, we'll be inevitably talking about the topics of the day and maybe even get a guest on. Who knows? But we'll be back.